Hey guys, I'm Levi Gates, and welcome to DETALKS. With me, Mr. Yvan Lacroix. What's happening, brother?
Doing great.
It's good to see you. It's nice always to have us together and hanging out and doing this kind of thing. I know that's one of the things a lot of people that when we send out these little surveys and stuff, everybody says they just want more Yvan. So it's a good problem, right?
It's a nice problem to have because I like coming to Boise.
That's right, yeah. And you got brought the bus and the wife, so everybody's here, which is nice. This one we kind of wanted to talk about was, obviously with the advent of the UDOS polisher, and the fact that like Flex made a very light rotary. And Rupes has made a very light, easy to use rotary. The rotary is not the 40-pound monster that it used to be when we were using them.
The two-speed Milwaukee.
Yeah, they're now they've now become a very easy to use tool, and with the ability of having all this education at hand in the sense that you can watch a video now. You can attend a training. You can actually get your hands on a rotary. Where previously the only time you got a rotary was maybe if you got a job at a dealership and they handed you, or at a body shop, handed you a rotary and said, knock out this panel.
Or if you bought one.
Or you bought one and tried it yourself.
Exactly.
But the fear, I remember for so many years, people would say, you're not using a high-speed polisher because I don't want you burning my paint, or I don't want you swirling my paint. And I remember going like, well, it's a variable speed rotary, but okay, it can go to a high speed. But I remember when I first started, I'd take these customers' calls and they would say that. They would just say, I don't want you touching it with a high speed. And the only other option was like a random orbital that you were just polish it on the side of the car, and that was it. You couldn't do anything other than put a wax on the car. So that was how it was always brought up. And I remember teaching my employees for a number of years, like I would get them started on it, but they weren't really all that great to do more than just kind of, one steps, slow speed, one steps. To really get in any heavy correction until at least a year to 2 years almost in some instances before they felt comfortable cranking them up, or they knew the limits of the machine, or they knew how to handle the machine. Because they would jump, they would hit something, they would catch something, they'd wrap up in their jackets, they'd catch their hoodie strings or their headphones at the time, or their beards. It's now that the polishers are lighter, easier to use, easier to hold. They're not so heavy.
And chemical technology has changed as well.
And that has changed too. So, and pad technology has made it easier and safer. Detailers are starting to embrace it. They're embracing that rotary.
People will follow me online. Every time I write this, I get comments and I get private messages. I cut with a DA and I finish with a rotary. And people are like, well, that's backwards. It's not backwards. It's just my way of doing it. And there's no wrong way or right way of doing it. We'll get that out of the way right now. One machine is not better than the other. One machine does not finish better than the other. One machine does not cut better than the other. The real answer is it depends. What pad are you using? What polish are you using? What compound are you using? There's so many variables. But the rotary itself, it's become, because of these lightweight rotaries, we used to use the old Milwaukee or the DeWalt or even the Makita.
I had DeWalts and Makitas, and my dad had a Milwaukee.
Yeah, exactly. They were heavy machines. Ergonomically, they weren't exactly well balanced.
Well, and I remember when you and I first started, you were talking like with the DA, you were teaching me about the trigger lock. And because I was a rotary guy, I never taught my guys to use the trigger lock because I never wanted them to be on autopilot. Because they'd put that trigger lock on and they'd just be going and they wouldn't be paying attention, and that was when an accident happened.
Exactly.
Because it just keep rolling.
And it'll wrap it around quite well. The other aspect of it is speed. Now, we used to call it a high speed for a reason, because we'd be slinging that thing at 1,500 to 3,000 RPM. Mm-hmm. Now the machines, some of them go down to 400 RPM.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah. And with the new chemical technologies, the lower you go, the faster you cut. And it's, again, people are going, well, how can that be? The abrasives are actually designed to run cool. Your paint, the cooler you keep it, the better it is. Now, the good old-fashioned tufted wool pad is probably one of your nicest pads to use, first of all, comfort-wise. And it moves a lot of air. Moving a lot of air keeps it cool. So people have this misconception that as soon as a rotary touches the paint, it's going to burn the paint off the car.
Right.
No. I'm Canadian, we're not into guns, but there's a saying you guys have for guns, rotaries don't burn paint, rotary users burn paint.
There you go. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And it is true. That, and getting a bit of practice, getting a bit of education behind the rotary will make it so much easier to use and so much fun. I like it, and I know you're the same. We've been detailing it for, between the two of us, almost 60 years. And our bodies are telltales of that.
Yeah, I have a lot of damage in my shoulders and elbows from a number of years of rotary use.
Right. But we used to use the rotary with pressure, with speed, and that was not necessarily a good thing.
No. And once it's hard to say this to a lot of folks that don't understand it, but it was a lot more difficult back then to cut paint, to cut through stuff, to polish stuff. You felt like you had to use that. Maybe it was because we didn't have the education that all of us have. We were kind of self-taught.
Right.
In a lot of it.
Yeah.
And now, with the amount of technology and education put into these machines, into the pads, into the products.
Right.
And seeing how they all work together now on an actual scientific level.
Yeah.
Instead of just a surly, hungover body man handing you a polisher and going, go cut that corner, and here's some
rocks
super
in a
gritty.
bottle.
Here's some super gritty compound. It's gonna dust, so just be aware of it. And you've got it in your eyes and your nose and it's just it's everywhere.
Real men wear masks, by the way.
That's not there anymore.
No.
The companies are coming in, and when you're showing, hey, we're just guiding this machine, and it's doing the exact same thing that I remember doing with rocks in a bottle on a pressure, big, huge wool pad, pushing down as hard as I could.
Yeah.
At 3, just running that thing to try and keep it to cut.
I use a rotary literally with 2 fingers.
Yeah.
One wrapped around the cord and one on the front. And that's how I hold my rotary.
Yeah.
And I get much better cut that way than the old way of standing on the machine, cranking up the speed, and hearing the panel go pop as you overheat it. We're not doing that anymore. So the term high-speed buffing should be eliminated from the detailing industry. Just get it out of there. It's an antique technology.
Yeah, because
we're not doing that anymore. And once people realize that, wait a minute, I can use this at speed 1 and get great cut and even better finish, then it's a lot of fun. And getting back to our bodies that don't like us anymore because they're trying to kill us with pain, but using the rotary, there's no vibrations.
Right.
So it's actually a smoother tool to use than a DA in a lot of cases.
Well, and it's surprising that there are, I read and I see all the different forums and groups and all that, and it's funny to see the stuff where I can look at it, and I know you have that same power, where we can look at the pictures that the guy is having issues with and go, oh man, you could take care of all that if you just grabbed this pad, this and a rotary. You wouldn't be having this issue. Yeah. And I think that just comes from age, but I also feel like detailers need to learn this and need to use the machine, get acquainted with one. Yeah. Because it, just like any tool in your arsenal, it's like going up to I'm sure a carpenter does this when they're putting a wall up. Yeah. And if you're using a fine little finishing hammer to hammer big, huge sinker nails in, it's going to take a while, and you're going to have a really hard time trying to get that in.
You're going to get it in.
Yeah,
eventually.
You're going to need one of the bigger hammers that has the the actual pattern on it.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be able to drive that nail, or the wrong screwdriver.
Exactly.
There's a reason for every tool, and every tool has its job, and every tool can help benefit you. And so it behooves you, because I guarantee you there aren't carpenters and contractors going, whoa, I don't use those chop saws.
No, exactly.
I never use those.
No, I only use
they're going to cut wood wrong.
I only use a handsaw.
Yeah.
Or I only use a table saw for everything.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Or a skill. Like they're just there isn't. I guarantee you, in every industry, there isn't a mechanic saying, I don't use that tool.
Yeah. I only use wrenches. I don't use ratchets.
Right.
They're cheating.
Yeah. Yeah, they're cheating.
Yeah, exactly.
That is unheard of, and it feels like it's the only because of the detail industry that we have that.
And if we go outside of North America, the rotary is still king.
Yeah.
So every area has its its differences.
Right.
Couldn't get that word out, so never mind.
Peculiarities?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. So I'm still not going to try. But every area has its different way of doing things. And if you look at the European model, they've been polishing with a rotary at low speeds a lot longer than we have.
Right.
I remember speaking with Jason Rose, and him saying when he developed one of the products for McGuire's, who he used to work with, he actually brought a lab over to Europe and developed it there.
Yeah.
Just because that's what was needed. He couldn't figure it out here. So they brought a lab. Basically, he transported a miniature lab to develop the product over there. So with the internet, the world is shrinking every day.
Yeah.
And techniques that are used in Asia, techniques that are used in Europe, techniques that are used in North America are being seen by people everywhere. And that's great. It's benefiting the industry immensely, that knowledge base that's there. But the rotaries, the advent of the lighter rotaries has really changed. Pad technology, as you mentioned, but chemical technology has made a huge difference. And if you've never used a rotary before, just go to Harbor Freight and pick up a cheap one. You're going to use it somewhere anyways. It's not a waste.
You could easily pick one up, go to the junkyard, grab a hood for $30-$40.
Yeah.
And just play with it.
Yeah, definitely. And take a class. You don't have to take my class. Rennie Doyle does a great class. Mike Phillips does a great class. There's a lot of well-known, well-respected teachers out there that teach you how to use the tools. And I won't say properly, because there's no proper or improper way of doing it. But they'll give you tips and techniques to make it easy to use.
Yeah.
And show you how you can actually use that tool to benefit you.
Right.
And a tool is an investment. It's not a cost. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you money.
Well, yeah, and to that point, like I always look at it also as cost per use.
Yeah.
How many times are you going to use that tool? If you're going to get to a point where you're going to start using it on every car, the cost of that tool is going to drop dramatically every time you use it.
Exactly.
And so, my first Rupes polisher was a very expensive purchase for my shop at the time, because it was the very first one in the state. They just arrived to the United States. But at the end, that polisher
had 5 cents per use.
Had done 5,000 cars by the time I retired it.
Yeah.
And I'd already replaced it with other ones.
Yeah.
And I'm technically didn't retire it. I still use it at home.
Yeah.
To polish cars once a week. So the cost of that now has shrunk to the point that it gets to where it's making you money.
Exactly.
And I look at that machine and I go, that bought so-and-so's house. That bought so-and-so's car. That bought, it bought things for my employees.
Exactly.
Because it created an income for them.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're ready to conclude.
Well, I think that's all we can really say, other than don't be scared of a rotary.
No, it's not going to eat your paint.
Yeah.
Trust us.
And I always like to say low and slow, like a fine brisket. You want to run that machine, as low as you can go, and just take your time, enjoy it, feel it, learn it. And
one of the other little things is, do not hold it with a death grip.
Yeah, you'll get really bad arthritis after a long time, like I used to do.
Not only that, the more you try to control it, the more it's going to control you. So Think of the
It's true.
Think of the janitor in high school with that floor polisher.
That's a giant rotary.
It's a giant rotary. Now, the janitor was going down the hallway, one-handing the machine, not a problem. Today, they're probably looking at their phone while they're doing it.
Yeah.
In my time, they were playing with the 5-pound wad of keys on a chain. But anyways, they'd go down the hallway. If the janitor would have given the controls of that over to a student, you would have seen the student bouncing off the lockers all the way down the hallway until it unplugged itself.
Right.
That's because the janitor was basically holding onto it with one finger.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to control it to make it work.
Let the machine find its own way. You're literally guiding the machine.
Yeah.
If you're trying to hold on to the machine and you're trying to manhandle the machine, wrong answer. Just guide the machine.
That's words to live by right there.
Yeah.
So, Yvan, thank you for coming, man.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it. You guys can find Yvan on Facebook and Instagram as Yvan Lacroix. You can also check out his bus, the Lacroix Cruiser,
Yes.
and its adventures as it goes around the U.S. and Canada. As always, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And for more videos, stay tuned right here on the Rag Company YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.